Kind of recapping Saturday night after spending the day yesterday watching the film. A lot of things we talked about after the game did show up on the tape. It started with tackling, had some opportunities to make tackles, and didn't get that executed. We could have helped things a couple of times, just a couple, but a couple times, guys getting out of a gap that created a larger space than needed to happen. And again, it goes back to, open set offense and spreading things out. Those are tough one-on-one tackles, but we got to definitely get better at that end. Offensively, just the execution at the beginning, one there, and some plays that we can execute as an offense. And I think it showed in the second half because we ran some similar plays that got executed at a better level, and we got to find to be more efficient there early on. Would have made a huge difference. Just like anything, there was some positive on this tape. I mean, the play Caleb Lightmore makes on punt, where it's a high snap and has to avoid a tackle and kicks the thing with his left foot, and that really changed the game. You think about an interception that took place right after that. And I actually think Caleb and the kickoff squad had a great game. The way he kicked it off, and we tackled, got a couple of times inside the 20-yard line. That showed up. I actually thought our corners on the perimeter, outside receiver, did a nice job. I mean, those guys can run routes. You look at a few big plays did happen from the inside receiver. I thought that group, our corners played well, and Jamar played well. He's got something with he's running it, and we threw it to him a few times, made it physical. He did come to play, especially he was huge for us in that second half. A couple of penalties early. Negated some good drives as well, and we got to clean that up going back again offensively. Those were drive killers when that took place. So a lot to work on, and again, it gets an exciting week. I know our guys we're excited about this next opportunity, going to a place in Seattle, University of Washington. We got a bunch of respect for. They got a bunch of good players, and I know we're looking forward to taking on that challenge. It's a little bit unique. They haven't played. We have. And, that's some good and some bad, to be honest with you. We played a game. We know some things we got to clean up and work on. They got a new offense over there that we don't have tape of. And so there's some uncertainty that comes with that. And so it'll be a definite challenge. They've been good on defense for a long time over there. And they got some good players and a good scheme. And so we got our work cut out for us on that end. Questions?
Yeah, Jonathan, it looked like Hodgins and Sandberg, they looked like they played a lot Saturday night. Did you have a few depth issues on the line, or I didn't keep track of snaps?
Right. No, they did. They played way more than the guys behind them. James Rawls and Cody Anderson didn't nearly have the same type of snaps. Some of it was the pace Washington State was going at was not very fast, and so you did get a little bit breather. They were taking a lot of the play clock. And then you look at the total snaps in the game. I think offensively they had about 60 to 65 snaps. We had 90, almost 90 offensively. And so there wasn't that many snaps to feel the need to rotate too much.
So would you anticipate playing Bennett and Skelton a little bit more this week then?
Yep. Those guys in particular will play against offenses where, they got a couple tight ends in the game. We got a couple substitutions, nickel base personnel defensively that they'll be involved quite a bit more.
Did Ham play some defensive end on Saturday? It looked like he might have. I don't know.
Well, I mean, he looks like a defensive end a lot of the time. When we're in nickel, we got two interior D linemen. He's on the edge outside the tackle some, and that's traditionally where DNs play. And so he did line up there. He
didn't impact the game as you would normally see him do, or did they do something to take him out of it, or was he or what did you think?
Yeah, there was part of their scheme to take it out of it. I mean, you look at sometimes you could tell the back was tracking where he was at to help out the tackle, and he got chipped a few times. He was close a few times. They did a good job. That ball was coming out pretty quick a lot of the time, and so you're not always going to get home when the ball is coming out that quick. So I don't think he played poorly. It just didn't happen for him a couple of times on pass rushes. The ball comes out. And they did have a little bit of emphasis, you could tell, in their protections to focus on.
Hey, Coach. So before I have a few looking ahead questions, but looking back, after the game on Saturday, Coach Rolovich said that there were 32 players that didn't travel with Washington State. He wouldn't confirm whether it was or was not because of COVID testing, contact tracing, etc. So my question is, as the coach who played him, does the team coming in have to tell you certain things about their testing? Does that all go through the Pac-12? I feel like the whole process is still kind of a mystery in my head. So can you walk us through what you guys have to do each and every week to guarantee that you get to play?
Yeah, there's a lot there. I know our protocols, and we went through and we tested in the morning, and we were cleared. Everybody that played was cleared off the testing. The Pac-12 runs the protocols and what every team has to do. I'd have to pass that to Doug Ackerman to know all of what that is. And so I know for our roster, we tested that morning. Everybody who played for us was negative.
And that's what you have to do. You have to have every person who plays has to test negative that morning.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
How many guys were not available to you on Saturday?
Just the couple guys that I mentioned on the, like Addison Gums, hamstring wise. That was it. Well, no, that's not it. I mean, Newell. I mean, we've got some football injuries that we're always going to have some guys unavailable.
Get back to the defense. It looked like you didn't send a lot of guys at the quarterback. Were you playing more coverage and hope and kind of trying to confuse Delora a little bit, or what was the approach there?
Yep. You're always trying to change up your looks. The ball was coming out pretty quickly, and so with the ball coming out quickly, the more you send and the ball comes out, that's less guys to be able to cover / tackle. So we were changing up the looks, did mix up the coverages, and again, we did blitz some, but maybe not as much as playing coverage.
But there'll be games where you'll send more guys down the road. Without
question. I mean, each week's going to be different. Each offense is going to be different. But I know from an offensive perspective, when we're throwing it quickly, I want to get blitzed, if that makes sense.
Right. A couple of personnel things on the depth chart. Tago is dropped off. Is he still around or?
Yeah, he was unavailable middle of the week, and so he is not available currently.
And then I've been asked about Lindsey. He was there, but he didn't play Saturday, or
yeah, some of that was he was totally there, available, good to go. Some of it was the rotation at the receiver position, and we actually thought we were pretty productive at that spot. I think distributing the ball, you can see Bradford had catches, and Zariah had a good slant route on third down. Colby, Champ. And it goes back to a little bit. We thought this receiver position would start as a committee, and it played out that way. And so that's going to happen on occasion. Different personnel groups, receivers playing at a high level, didn't rotate as much, but we're in no way down on Tyjon.
It looked like Washington State crowded the line of scrimmage a lot. Almost like they were kind of daring Tristan to throw a little bit. Is that maybe? Did you see that too? Or?
They did some of that, and some of that pre-snap, and then they bailed out of there. And it goes into disguise defensively, showing like as if we're coming up the line of scrimmage and coming, and then they clicked out a good amount too.
Coach, John Wilner after the game said that Washington State, even though they had a whole new staff, new scheme, they looked like the team that was ready to play, whereas the Beavers looked like they hadn't practiced in 7 months. How do you get your team up to a level that you want them to be and be prepared?
Yeah, we work and prepare each week, and so you're gonna win and lose some games. There's no other way around it. And obviously, we're not trying to play poorly at the start of the game. We looked at our preparation that we felt good about, and our guys practiced hard. Look, we didn't execute offensively early in the game, but turn that around quickly in the second half. Vice versa, defensively, come out and we got a 3-and-out. We got some early stops. So we're always trying to play well in the games, and sometimes it doesn't go your way.
Along the offensive line, did you play the same 5 guys for each snap, or did you ever sub a guy out?
I believe it was the same 5 guys.
Because it looks like Corbin Sorensen didn't play at all. Is that just didn't happen to get in, or
Yeah, well, I mean, you oftentimes O-line, you need some continuity throughout the game, and feeling like those guys were playing well. So wasn't the need to feel like we needed to sub somebody.
What was your assessment of the offensive line play of first game of this group?
I think there was some good things in regards to their physicality, trying to make it physical. I mean, News had a great game, maybe the best game he's had since I've been here. We did have a couple early missed assignments that cost us on run games, missed targeting. We get leaving a inside backer unblocked. I think the pass pro we can tighten up a little bit. And again, that's a group effort. All 11 guys, we got to run a route with some precision, get the ball out on time. So overall, I like the group. There's definitely things to clean up, and I think we will as we move along this season.
Coach, looking at the defense, obviously that's a side of the ball that you got a lot of guys returning. And so what are some of the things that you'd like to see them do better? It wasn't the start that you were hoping to have, but what are you really focusing on this week changing between Saturday and this Saturday?
Yeah, well, kind of mentioned the tackling already. That's obviously a piece we got to do a great job of. Anytime you play games and people can run the ball successfully, it's going to be hard. So we got to do better against the run game. Now we're going to play, we think, an entirely different offense coming this weekend, but we got to shore up the run game to that'll be first and foremost.
You touched on this at the outset, but would you rather be the team that's played a game or the team that hasn't played a game but has the video?
I know it's a good question. I mean, you can see some positive and negative on both sides. I do think it's a positive that we've played a game, and now we can address some things we got to get better at. I think there's the element of surprise when they're playing their first game. They got a new offensive coordinator and not knowing that exact scheme. So I can see it both ways.
This is obviously this is your first road trip. What are two or three things that are on your radar about traveling, during a pandemic that you might not think much about normally?
Well, one thing is beautiful for me. I don't have to decide all the protocols on traveling. Dan Vanderreet is sitting back here in our athletic department. They've spelled all this out on how it's going to feel a little bit different. But I'm just confident in the people around this place that we'll be safely going about it.
With two games already canceled and what's going on with Utah and what we learned afterwards with your last week's opponent, do you have concerns moving forward about more games being missed and how do you approach kind of that unknown?
Well, I think it's a little bit unknown, and I don't control it. I know that our protocols have given us opportunity to be able to play. I'm talking Pac-12 conference wide. Everyone's doing their best, but at the same time respecting this virus and making sure everyone's safe if we get to play.
In regard to Washington, they've still got 4 quarterbacks listed as possibilities for starters. You were on a staff with Jimmy Lake. Do you have any? I mean, is this playing a little poker with him at all and trying to figure out who they're going to play, or how do you prep for?
They got 4 guys listed, and you can't prep for 4 different skill sets. Again, we're really focused on ourselves defensively. We already addressed kind of shoring up some of the things that on Saturday we got to get better. We're going to need to trust our rules because we don't exactly know what it's going to look like schematically, and then be ready to adjust during the game.
Coach, special teams struggled this week. You had Trevon fielding a kick at like the 3 when he should have let it go. You missed a field goal. The snap issues. What are you guys doing to kind of shore that up? I mean, that was a pretty veteran group there.
Yeah, Bradford, that wasn't the easiest one not to field. He had to track a little bit to do it. But yeah, we're not trying to catch it inside the 5. I will say if we did a better job of blocking the gunner running down, he's got a chance to go with that. Had the high snap that we addressed. Caleb made a great play on that. We actually got a tipped punt that we're tightening up that protection piece, which was not good enough. There were some positive signs, like I said, on kickoff. The way Caleb did punt the ball, we got a bunch of fair catches there. So, just like every game, there's going to be some good to clean up, and then there was some positive end.
Husky Stadium is a place you know well. Is there anything different about playing a game in there at night as opposed to the afternoon?
Oh, I mean, the weather's always something. The wind is always something. It is a beautiful stadium. Got a bunch of good memories in that spot. But I don't think there's something glaring between 12:30 and 8.
The wind doesn't change anything like that at night, or I guess that was the main thing I was wondering.
Yeah, no, I think it's more particular day, the weather pattern.
Coach Jake got his first start with Jacksonville on Sunday. Were you able to watch the game, and just how exciting was it for you to be able to kind of see him out there?
Yeah, I wasn't watching. I didn't get to see the entire game. Saw some of it. Looked like he did a lot of good things. Really happy for him. Did not see that, the scramble, the late touchdown run. I didn't quite see that spin move at Oregon State, but he's adding to his repertoire, So we're definitely cheering him on, and really just great story. If anyone deserves to have some success at that level, that kid does.
I was going to say, he joked all the time at Oregon State that he didn't run, he wasn't fast. Were you laughing at all when you saw back that spin move?
Yeah, the spin move was different, man. We did not see that. He did have a nice run at UCLA. I think he pulled the ball late and scored last year for us. But the spin move, he didn't break that out with us.
You mentioned Gums earlier. Is he any possibility of him playing this week?
We'll have a better idea toward the end of the week. Again, we'll practice tomorrow and see what he kind of looks like.
And then Morris played a little bit at the end. Is he any possibility he'll play more this week? Or
yeah, and some of the his limited amount, just because leading up to it, he had a limited amount of practice, but he did get in, had a good tackle, and so we see him contributing more this week.
Sorry, did you say you talked to Jake since his debut yesterday or not yet?
Text message a couple of times back and forth. Yeah.
What was his reaction? Because after the game, he was a little
right. No, we texted a little bit before the game leading up. I haven't hit him up. I texted him after, but I haven't heard back from him after the game. He's pretty busy, man. He's working.
He big timing you.
Yeah, I know. That's good.
Hey, Jonathan, was Jaden Grant all right after he limped off there?
Yeah. Yep. He was out there a little bit last night. We'll kind of see by how it feels, but we don't see that being a long-term thing.